Welcome to SI UK India YouTube live event. Thank you for joining us. We are now live with the Loughborough University London. Today we have Dan, Haley and Sanjana with us. They will be taking us through this YouTube live event. We'll answer all the questions after the presentation during the Q&A session. So let's start the YouTube live event. Over to you, Sanjana.
Oh, you're muted.
Now you're not audible.
Sorry, I put myself on mute. Sorry. Hi, I'll just share my screen and then we can start.
Yeah.
Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Great. Okay, let me just move it. Oops. Sorry about that. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today for this very interesting session about career support that we offer our students at Loughborough. My name is Sanjana and I'm the International Officer for South Asia. I'm part of the global engagement team at East Midlands campus. Next, we have Dan Robinson with us, who is the Future Space Projects Manager at London campus. Dan has worked on both campuses actually, and he'll be talking about how we support our students through employer engagement and career development across both campuses. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dan. We also have Haley Jones with us. Haley is the Student Enterprise Coordinator and will be walking us through Loughborough Enterprise Network that supports entrepreneurship and innovation. I'd like to give a huge thank you to Haley for joining us today despite being off sick. We really appreciate it. Last but not least, we have our current student with us, Sandeep Achanta, who is studying MSc Service Design Innovation at London campus. Thank you, Sandeep, for taking out time to share your student journey and experience with us today. So really appreciate it. Without further ado, I'd like to do a short introduction of Loughborough University before handing over to Dan and Haley to talk about career support. Like you can see, East Midlands campus, which is in Loughborough, is a single-site campus and spread over 500 acres. It's a beautiful green campus with shops, cafes, bars, 2 gyms, a pharmacy, an optician, dental practice, a nightclub. Literally, there's something for everyone, and it's all conveniently located on campus. This campus is more than 100 years old. It was built in 1909. Our second campus in London was established in 2015 and is an inspiring postgraduate campus located on Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park with a new innovation quarter, within a new innovation quarter known as Here East. We have over 19,000 staff and students across both campuses. There's a diverse population of students from across the world from over 130 different nationalities. We have over 3,000 international students with us, and we have 9 academic schools at Loughborough, including London campus. This is a little bit about the location. Like I was saying earlier, our campus is based in Loughborough is based in East Midlands. It's a market town in the heart of East Midlands, about halfway between Leicester and Nottingham, and also a short train ride away from London. The train journey to London is about an hour and a half. Closest international airport would be Birmingham, followed by London Heathrow. About London campus, like I was saying earlier, it's located on the Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park, close to Stratford International and Westfield Shopping Centre. This is a quick glance through our rankings on QS. So as you can see, Loughborough is ranked number 1 in the world for sport-related subjects, number 32nd in the world for design, 62nd in the world for mechanical engineering, and so on. We are amongst the top 150 universities in the world for business-related courses. That'll be all from my end. I don't want to waste a lot of time doing the introduction, so I'm going to hand it over to Dan now. So all yours, Dan. Dan, before you start, sorry, just whenever you want me to change the slide, just tell me and I will change it.
Okay, will do. Let's change the first slide then, please.
Okay.
Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, depending on the time of day that you are in the world. As Sanjana said, my name is Dan Robinson. I'm the projects manager for Loughborough University London's Future Space team. I've worked at both campuses for a period of over 10 years, and I currently cover employer engagement, careers development activities, and external networking opportunities for our London students, helping our students to get in touch with external employers and opportunities. Next slide. Okay, so at Loughborough campus, we have what is known as Loughborough Careers Network. And next slide, please. And in London, we have the Future Space team, which myself and Hayley are both part of. And the next slide, please. So first, we're going to talk a little bit about a typical graduate recruitment timeline. So for October starters, this is initial applications, CVs, covering letters will go in. This will be followed by psychometric testing, so things such as verbal reasoning, there might be some math tests or games which can assess certain attributes that you might have. This will then lead on to a video interview process, or can lead onto a video interview process. So 47% of graduate recruiters currently are using video interviews as part of their recruitment campaigns. And this is important, we can lose up to 90% of candidates through this process. So this is quite an important stage for candidates to get through. If you get through that, then quite often this is followed by assessment centres, which can cover group exercises, presentation, role play, written exercises, things like that. And then if you're lucky enough to get through to the final stage, there will be a final interview with the organisation. Now, when does all of this happen? We can have the next slide, please. So this is a typical graduate recruitment timeline. As you can see, September to January, applications are open for most organisations, which then close in February for organisations to have a look at the applications and possibly move candidates onto the next stage. March to April, there might be assessment centres, which covers the practical exercises that I mentioned earlier. And then May to June, they will possibly reopen this to maybe top up the candidate pool that they have. In July, they will review the candidates and start looking to make offers. And then in August, graduates will be expected to start their roles. So next slide, please. So what can we do to help you get that job of your dreams in the UK or elsewhere internationally? Next slide, please. So both campuses, we have a dedicated careers support team. In Loughborough, it's known as International Futures. There is a web page there, elborough.ac.uk/careers/international, if you want to learn a little bit more about that. The next slide. So at both campuses, we have careers consultation. So consultants can help talk you through your career choices and perhaps find options for you to progress there. They can also help you review your CV. We have mock assessments so that you can practice in those scenarios and presentation exercises or group work. And we also have coaches who can help you develop skills within job interviews. So next slide, please. We also have a lot of online jobs platforms. We have platforms which can help you look for jobs, can help you prepare for the exercises and so on. We also have the careers consultants can also help you with that job search as well. We have a number of ways to practice video interviews and psychometric testing as well. Next slide, please. So some of those tools we have. So first off, we have Team Focus, which is a self-profiling app, which can help you to go through a number of exercises which might build a profile for yourself and the kind of character that might suit certain roles. Graduates First, that has practice psychometric testing, it has verbal reasoning, and more importantly, it has a bespoke video interview practice tool as well. So that is very useful for students who want to practice and gain skills in video interview when preparing for the real thing. Next is eCareers Grad. Oh, sorry. sorry, the next platform, not the next slide. The next platform is eCareers Grad, which again has a number of practice exercises on there, but more importantly, it has an up-to-date ranking table showing the current 150 top visa sponsors in the UK. So you can have a look at that and try and identify the types of organisations who might be more likely to sponsor a visa if students are looking for employment in the UK. And finally, there is Going Global, which has thousands of jobs on there, both in the UK and internationally. I searched for internships, just a broad search for internships in London the other week, and there were over 17,000 available there. So that is a very useful tool to have as well. And the next slide, please. Because as well as preparing for these types of engagements, you need to also be able to connect with organisations that you might want to work for. And one of the ways we do that is through careers fairs. I believe the careers fair that we have in Loughborough in October is one of the biggest in Europe, which is also accessible to Loughborough and London students. We do run a coach up for London students to the careers fair. We also have things like alumni panels. So we get some of our alumni in who can talk to our students about their careers development and how they got from being a graduate to their current post there. We also have site visits so that you can get to actually see what it's like to be in a particular workplace. We were visited IBM's innovation studio in central London in July, and that was a great visit. And through that, we also get quite a bit of industry mentoring as well, which can help our students to be coached in certain developmental areas. Next slide, please. So employability is another important one. So developing the skills to show that you can actually come in and do a job and be employable. So we do that through volunteering. We have a lot of organisations on both campuses that we work with for volunteering opportunities and work experience as well. At the minute, both campuses are also offering micro internships as well, and we can also connect you to external internships. So we have a number of ways of doing that. And through platforms such as Going Global, and we also have Careers Online and a few other platforms as well, which can really help our students look for the kinds of roles that they are looking for. So next slide, please. So that is just a few examples of where our students or our graduates currently work. There are some big organisations there, and we can also use that network at times to try and support our current development and employability options for students. So that speaks for itself. I think next slide, please, which will be about London. So I'm going to take a few minutes just to talk about activities at the London campus. If I could have the next slide, please. So, as I mentioned, I'm part of the Future Space team with Hayley. So Future Space is the concept of a space for students to figure out their own futures, supported by our team. We are a dedicated team. We work specifically on careers development and on student entrepreneurship and starting businesses. We have a lot of skills development workshops and networking and employer engagement. So that's what we do in London. A little bit more about that is on the next slide. So we work to focus in three areas. Firstly, reflection and action. So that is the idea of reviewing maybe a piece of work that you've previously done and seeing what you can learn from that and use that to develop future ambitions or targets or things that you want to achieve in the future. We achieve that through careers advice. We have internal mentoring as well as external industry mentors coming in. We sometimes have guest lectures and, as I mentioned, alumni panels as well. So next on that is the skills. We have a lot of skills development workshops and other activities in London. We've had workshops around UX, UI, for example. We've had a workshop around SEO, around digital design and planning, Kanban, and various other project management ways of working. And finally, again, as I mentioned, the experience side of things, it's very important to get experience on your CV or your LinkedIn profile just to show people that you are capable of coming in and doing a job. So we do that through hacks. We have hackathons at least 2 or 3 times a year. We've previously had Ford and other organisations working on business challenges around. I think the last two were about accessible last mile transport, so hacking that problem. And we also had one about ways for changing light bulbs for people with disabilities, working with a disability organisation there. As I mentioned, we also have the micro internships. We're currently looking at short 8-week internships working with organisations, which are our students are paid for those upon completion as well. And finally, the site visits, which I mentioned, we're also talking to D Ford, which is Ford's tech design wing. They are based at here east, just across the road from us. So we're looking at organising a visit with those, and hopefully again with IBM and possibly Google as well. So next slide, please. In London, we also have specific private institutes linked in groups, which is a great opportunity initially for social interaction with current students and with our alumni, but more importantly, us, our academics, our business partners who are also alumni, we also post jobs in there and developmental opportunities. So it is great for professional networking. And we do have a couple of QR codes on the next slide, which will help you connect to both Loughborough University and Loughborough University London, which I'm sure if you're watching this back later, you can probably pause this for a minute and scan this with your phone or another device to get in touch with us. So I'm going to move to the next slide and take a few minutes to talk about something specific to London, which is a set of activities called Collaborate. So that includes the collaborative project and the collaborative dissertation, which I'll just go into a little bit more detail on the next slide. So the collaborative project is an academic credit-bearing activity. It does contribute towards a student's degree. Students typically work in teams of 4 or 5, which is overseen in classes of 25 to 30, which is overseen by an academic with academic support. And students have 3 weeks to produce a team reports to a business challenge and also an individual reflection on that. And this work is then celebrated a few months later at the Collaborative Project Show, which is an opportunity for students to showcase their work to external partners and anybody else who wants to visit and come and see this, which again is a great networking opportunity. The next slide, please. So the collaborative dissertation, this is an individual piece of work. It's part of academic research, which contributes towards a student's dissertation, which is overseen by an academic supervisor over a 12-week period. And there is also an option to integrate this research as part of a paid internship as well. So next slide again, please. So these are some of the organisations that we've worked with. Some of them are startups, some of them are very big organisations. You can see Sports Interactive. If anybody out there is a football gaming fan and is familiar with Championship Manager, that's Sports Interactive, that's what they've done there. Step Tribe was a former student of ours, Simon, who works there. Well, he runs the business. He's worked with us on quite a few projects as well, and there are loads more organisations that we get involved with. So the next slide, please, to summarise. So Collaborate, particularly the collaborative project, but also the dissertation, it's guaranteed experience working with an organisation within industry so that you can gain skills and experience of working in the UK. You get to learn those key skills that employers are looking for, and then finally you get to demonstrate that you can apply this knowledge in a working scenario. So if I can go to the next slide, I'm going to stay on this photo for a minute to talk about some of our students after their degrees. So first we have Tanvi, who was quite heavily involved with a lot of our activities. She completed the collaborative project very successfully, and she used that experience to work with an organisation called Turn, who are an entrepreneurial refugee network in London. She then moved on to Barclays as a product manager and then a senior manager, and now she is a product manager at a fintech organisation called New Day in London. Next slide, please. Apologies, I'm rushing through this because I am going over time slightly. So Jayant Ganju, he studied sports analytics and technologies. He completed one of our work experience micro internships with a sport tech hub around data analytics. He used this experience to get a job with Leyton Orient Women's Football Club. Leyton Orient are just across the road from us again. and he's now moved on to work with Sky Sports as a football statistician. The next one, please. And Isha was another student who worked through one of our micro internships, as they're now called, with an organisation called Played, who are a sports tech startup. That project went so well that the company offered her an internship, which then went on to offer her a full-time role as a UX designer with full visa sponsorship in the UK as well. So Isha is doing very well there through one of the future space activities, which has got her a job, which is great. And I think this is the last slide from me, which is Komal. Komal again was involved in everything we did. We didn't go a day without seeing Komal. She was always about in the space. She studied sport business and innovation. She again completed one of our work experience projects, which are now known as micro internships, with an organisation called Burfit. She BT Sport were next door to us. Unfortunately, they've just moved recently, but BT Sport were next to us. They offered us quite a few roles when they were there. And through Future Space, we offered one of the BT Sport roles to Komal. So she was working at Burfit as part of her project, and also working part-time as a production secretary with BT Sport. She put all of that experience together again, and she is now full-time digital research analyst with 7 League, who are IMG Media's digital consultancy. And that's probably enough from me. Thank you for your time, and I will hand back over to Sanjana.
Thank you, Dan. Now we have Haley. Haley, over to you.
Thank you very much. I think one of the themes that you'll see from both mine and Dan and even Sandeep's presentation is lots of smiley faces and pictures. And I think that really resonates with your time at Loughborough University. We do try and give you that fun and practical experience. So I'm delighted to introduce to you today something called the Loughborough Enterprise Network. So you've heard a lot about how you might go away and get a job in a graduate role. We like to think a little bit differently at the Loughborough Enterprise Network, and we help you create roles. So that might be you have an idea to start a business, or you just want to learn entrepreneurial skills. But what we do is give you the practical knowledge, resources, and even funding to really take your dreams forward. So we do this in 4 ways. We have 4 communities, and I'm going to go on to the next slide, please. Thank you. So what we recognised is entrepreneurship or enterprise or startups, whatever word you use, everyone has a chance to be entrepreneurial. So what we did was we split our community up into 4. So you have those that want to connect with us. They just want to learn entrepreneurial skills. They might take them into an employment. So they might come to us for the hackathons that Dan spoke about, learn a lot of good skills like pitching and consultancy and looking at how to develop research. And then they take them over to Dan's area of careers and get on that path line towards their interviews and their jobs. We then have a second community, which are those that are actively testing and validating new ideas, or even just starting and running a business, but it's at the early stages and they want some support to take them to the next stage. Then we have commercialized, which are those that are already up and running their businesses. Like, we cannot believe it, but some people come to Loughborough University and they've already started a really successful business and they just really need that extra support to help them to scale. So we have a community for you there. And then we also have our champions, those that will help the other 3 communities to give back and to develop the vibrant ecosystem that really supports entrepreneurship and innovation at Loughborough University. So those are the communities that you can join. Let's talk a little bit about what you get in each of them. Next slide, please. So if you are just looking for skill development, we have something called Personal Best, which Dan touched upon. We have lots of competitions where you can test those skills. Networking is a massive skill that you need in life and into employment and professional studies. Then we do workshops on skill development, such as pitching, LinkedIn use, things like that. And then we have a module where you can apply to some funding called the Skill Up Fund. We also then have the Create community where we have our year in enterprise. So if you are an undergraduate student, you can take a placement year out to run your business as your placement year. We have startup funding. So if you've got good ideas and you need a bit of cash to get you going, you can apply to up to 5K grant funding, which is means you don't pay it back. Obviously, there's a process going to. We're not just handing out lots of money, but we are handing out vetted money. So it is a good chance for you to get your foot into that entrepreneurial world. We have online courses, help to support you with market testing, prototyping facilities, and exchanges as well. So we're looking at maybe doing an exchange with MIT this year. Commercialize. So obviously we have given you the skills, we've given you the testing of your idea, and you know you're ready to get going on this. We put you in something called targeted accelerators. So this could be Startup London if you're based in London. It could be the validator in Loughborough, or even after graduation, we have something called the Graduate Incubator Program. What you receive there is more support, more access to funding, and more development amongst a community of peers who are all starting out at the same time. We also look to support the applications for the Innovator Founder Visa. So if you are an international student, you want to start your business in the UK, there is some support mechanisms that we do to support you with that dream. And then champion, obviously, we hope that you've really enjoyed your time with Loughborough Enterprise Network and you might want to give back in the future. And we're starting to get to that stage now. Next slide, please. I'm going to run you through a little bit of more just to show you some pictures. So the Connect, obviously, as I said, is those that are curious about exploring new skills, and we have lots of different opportunities for you to get involved. And one of the things that we really like is our group coaching session. So you might come in and say, I've got a skill that I want to help develop, and your peers can help you develop those. So that's really successful, and we do that a lot. Next slide, please. Create. So we have lots of dedicated spaces. So Dan mentioned the future space. So Len sits across both campuses, but we find homes in lots of different areas of the university. And one of our homes is the future space, but the other home we have up in the East Midlands campus is something called our startup lab. So we don't just provide skills, resources, we actually provide you the space to actively test your ideas. Next slide, please. I mentioned the Year in Enterprise briefly. I'm just going to breeze over this for the undergraduates who are listening. We obviously look to support our Year in Enterprise students who want to start their businesses through their placement year. This gives them the space, the organisation, the access to resources, and to an academic which will help them run their business as their placement year. Next slide, please. Commercialize, as I said, we had our 1 to 2 year program called our Graduate Incubator. It used to be called the Studio, and once upon a time I was a Loughborough University student and was in that Studio program, so I can attest to the support that is great there. You get a dedicated office space and desk, and you can even have a virtual membership if you've got an office in London. It comes with mentoring, specialist coaching, workshops and training, and that funding that we all need. The great thing about the Graduate Incubator is you are placed in a cohort. So you really get the support of not only the graduates on the cohort, but external businesses as well. So we accept those from the local community in Loughborough onto our programs so that we can all support each other, because businesses are hard. If businesses were easy to start up, everyone would be doing it. So we appreciate that, and we try and give you the support on the network to really help your business thrive. Next slide, please. And finally, the champion bit. Obviously, this is where our funding panels come in, our mentors come back, and we really try and give you that access to those that are maybe 10 years down the line of your future, so that you can help get experience from those that have been there before. Next slide, please. I'm just giving you an example of some of the champions that we work with. So here are some names of people that have either done hackathons with us, supported us with funding, supported us with access to mentoring opportunities, and maybe even done some collaborative events with us. So Dan mentioned some of the hacks. We also did a hack during the global pandemic with Ticketmaster Sport about how we get fans to engage in sport from afar, and that was a really successful hack. We've got obviously the Santander Universities partnership, where they help us support our entrepreneurs with funding, and even a really great accelerator program called Santander Explore. So there's loads of opportunities to access the industry, as well as starting your own business for partnerships. And we're really well placed in Loughborough University London. We are opposite one of the largest co-working spaces, innovation co-working spaces in the UK, called Plexor, and that's where we host lots of our events as well. Next slide, please. We have a common name here at Loughborough University called LEN. So Loughborough Enterprise Network is a bit of a mouthful. We refer to ourselves as LEN. It's not a person. So if you're searching for LEN, it is me, it is the team, and everyone knows where LEN is based, but it is Loughborough Enterprise Network. Next slide, please. Thank you. So one of the things that you like to see there is me enjoying hosting one of my events with lots of pizza. Sandeep will attest to this, that we like to feed you so that your body is healthy and your minds are open. So we run this event called the Creative Hack every year, and we do this in collaboration with 6 other universities. So one of the things that we do really well in London is collaborate outwards. So we don't just give you opportunities to meet Loughborough University students, you also get a chance to meet students from UCL, King's, and all of those in a room to work on creating a business idea together over the weekend. So hence why we needed a lot of pizza, because there's about 100 students from lots of different backgrounds, lots of different unis, get to Loughborough, London, and we give you the space to create ideas in a fast-paced environment for 2 days, and then you have to pitch it back at the end with expert judges and panel members, and they really dig into your idea. So if you're up for skill development, attend a hack, because they are the quickest, fast-paced, exciting. Things go wrong, but it is really one of those exciting things that you can get involved with and meet other people. I do have a video always. Let's see if this works.
Would you like me to play the video?
Yes, please, if we've got time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not sure if the sound's
Thank you
working.
for London's biggest celebration of urban entrepreneurship. Over 300 students from 13 universities boarded our iconic red buses for a tour across London's startup ecosystem. Taking 9 unique routes across the capital, we toured over 40 locations, from startups to accelerators, co-working spaces to incubators, investors to corporates, all known for their dedication to innovation. Venture Call is an opportunity for 2 worlds to come together. This is the day when the entrepreneurship sector meets the talent nurtured by London's universities, and when students can network, boost their confidence, build their career prospects, and raise their aspirations.
It's one of the fun experiences, and I cannot recommend it enough.
You're meeting entrepreneurial ecosystems, seeing different startups, different co-working spaces, just seeing how people work, because everyone's different. And it's exciting to see the hunger and drive.
So if you are interested, passionate, curious around entrepreneurship, and especially if you're interested in building your own venture, then please do get involved with the London Venture Call.
It's an absolute delight to be part of this, and I would encourage many, many more people to participate and think about this for future years.
Okay, thank you very much. Apologies, the sound was a little hard to hear at points. So what I'll do is I'll make sure the link's sent over to the organisers so you can watch it in your own time. So that is one of our flagship events that we host down in London. Dan and I are very tired after this day because it is one of the biggest and best events of the year. Essentially what we do is we put Loughborough University London students and Loughborough University students on big red buses, and we tour them around London so that they get access to the industry. And then we come together with all of the other universities that are doing it on the same day for a big pitching competition. Last year we did it with 18 universities, so you can really see how we get involved and really help you to network and grow your community. Next slide, please. Thank you. I should be wrapping up now, guys. So that is it. This is the last slide, just to let you know that we are very supportive of all of those that have different aspirations. So if it's you want to learn entrepreneurial skills, start your own business, or even grow your business, then the Loughborough Enterprise Network is here to support you. Join one of our communities today and stay in touch. We send lots of exciting events your way. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Haley. Now I would like to pass on to Sandeep. Like I was saying earlier, Sandeep is a current student at Loughborough University London, and he would be sharing his experience about studying at Loughborough and his student journey overall. Over to you, Sandeep.
Thank you so much, Sanjana. And thank you, Dan and Haley, for the opportunity to present today. I just wanted to quickly sound check. I hope all of you can hear me clearly. Awesome. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Sandeep Acharanta, and I am studying Service Design Innovation at Loughborough University, the London campus. Prior to starting my master's, I have a little over 10 years of work experience in multiple fields, such as tourism, fitness, and advertising. Starting my master's marked a career pivot for me towards product and service development. And in my spare time, I love dogs, fantasy fiction, and board games. I'm here today to talk a little bit about the student experience. Dan and Haley have spoken much more in detail about the services for career development that Loughborough University offers. What I'd like to offer is an insight into what the student experience might be like. Slide, please. Okay, so I think the first question on many potential students' minds might be what it looks like when you get here. And yes, the university experience, if it's the first time that you're studying in another country, can be quite overwhelming. There's a lot that's on your plate that you need to manage. You need to figure out food, accommodation, take care of your well-being, and then there's academics and getting onboarded with all the new university systems. And managing and optimizing for career options in addition to that can seem like a lot. But that said, just as Dan and Haley have been telling us about so far, FutureSpace and Loughborough University offers a lot of options for gaining experience, for support through your university experience, developing your skill set, and for career development while you're at university. That said, I will say that preparation and proactivity for the experience are key. Slide, please. Hello.
Sandeep, I think we lost you. We couldn't hear the last sentence.
Oh, shoot.
There was, there was, I think, some static.
Sorry about that.
No worries, that's fine.
All right.
Yeah, I think it's just the reception.
Sure. I hope you can hear me now.
Yes, it's fine now. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So as I was saying, Loughborough University and FutureSpace offer several options for developing experience when you're at university, for developing new skills, and even for internship opportunities. But that said, I would say that preparation and proactivity for the experience are very important. Slide, please. So as Dan and Haley have mentioned, FutureSpace is great. So they will be your link to the outside world while you're at university, and they offer several options, such as Monday mentoring, which is a way for you to get to know your peers and also get personal well-being and guidance here, and it's very useful to sort of align your. There are also a lot of career seminars and alumni panels, which you'll be getting emails about, and it's very important to keep an eye out for these because you can miss them if you don't keep an eye out, but they're all very, very useful. I've found some seminars very, very insightful and have gained very useful networks that I've continued to stay in touch with, and that might be opening up career opportunities for me as I graduate soon. And as Dan mentioned there, FutureSpace also offers micro internship opportunities, which are crucial to the student experience. And I'll talk a little bit more about my experience with my micro internships in the next slides. FutureSpace also offers several skill workshops, regardless of what kind of skill sets you're trying to acquire through your student experience. So I would recommend keeping an eye out for these as well. In terms of working with external organizations while you're at university, so as Dan mentioned, there are 8-week micro internships that are sort of mediated through the university. If you're someone who has a fair bit of a career experience, it might seem like, oh, why should I do an internship? I have all of this work experience. I'm sure I'll get hired right out the bat. But I would say that there are many reasons to consider a internship. So I would say for me, primarily, it was because, for example, I was looking to pivot careers. So I was learning a new skill set, wanted to learn how to apply it in a safe and guided setting before I would have to apply it in a professional setting. So the micro internships were great to do that. I worked with this organization called Milk Float, whose photo you can see on the right side. They work primarily in the F&B sector, and it was a great experience. They were very helpful. They even provided me with reference letters that helped me get jobs later on in my academic year. And they were also willing to help me network with other business owners, and an opportunity that I'd highly recommend. Slide, please. As Dan mentioned, the Collaborate project also offers 2 options. So one is the collaborative project and the other is the collaborative dissertation. I've participated in both of these projects. So the collaborative project is a 4-week group project that, as Dan mentioned, you work with a team of your cohort on solving a particular problem within an industry context. And this is very useful for many reasons. One, most professions today involve working with a small team in some capacity or the other. So this project really familiarizes you with how working with a team can be optimized for when you're together for a very short span of time, and then you're sort of thrown in together and given the context of solving a problem. It is also a great opportunity to, again, meet industry organizations. Through my collaborative project, for example, I met the mayor of Hackney, which led to some very cool conversations and also potential networking opportunities. So I'd highly recommend doing that. The collaborative dissertation is similar, but it is over a slightly extended timeline. So it allows you to work with a partner organization to conduct your dissertation research for a period of 12 weeks. These briefs usually start rolling in pretty early in the academic year, so it's important to keep an eye out for them and stay proactive. But as Dan mentioned, there are a load of organizations that get in touch with the university with really exciting briefs, and I'd highly recommend checking these out as well. Slide, please. And lastly, yeah, just some final thoughts on this. As I mentioned, studying abroad can definitely be a challenge. But that said, Loughborough University and FutureSpace offer you a lot of support. But that said, you do have to ask for it. And there are several options that you can take part in. So, for example, I feel that I've only made use of about 20% of all the services that FutureSpace offers, but I still feel my academic experience was quite rich. So choose the ones that suit you and your interests best. And lastly, just have fun. The 1 year goes by very quickly.
Great. Thank you so much, Sandeep. That was really insightful. And yeah, now it's time for questions. Yukti, we can't see the questions, so I guess you're going to read the questions out for us.
Yes, I'll go and read out the questions. Thank you for taking out time and giving us this insightful presentation. Now time for Q&A session. I will call out the question from the YouTube chat box. So the first question is, what are the pros and cons, if there are any, about getting a master's degree in the UK for international students?
Dan, do you want to take this question?
I guess I can do it from a careers point of view. I mean, I guess obvious cons might be relocation and the challenges around managing that. But the UK has a lot of opportunities, certainly around career-wise. There are businesses expanding and growing all the time, and we have connections to a lot of big and existing organisations, and also we have a lot of connection to startups or SMEs, which activities that Len offer can put through. So I think if you're looking to do something new, if you're looking to change your career or perhaps grow an existing career, then the UK is a very good place to do it. It's I guess reasonably central to Europe as well. So if you're interested in travelling around Europe, then that is a possible way to do that if you can fit that in with your studies. But there's a lot going on in the UK, and I would highly recommend it. Certainly at Loughborough, because it's a great place to be. As I said at the start of my slides, I've been there for 10 years, and a lot of the reason for that is because it's a nice place to be with really good, friendly, supportive people, which I couldn't recommend higher.
Okay, so next question is, what about the post-study work visa?
The post-study work visa is for 2 years. So students can apply for it's also called graduate visa. And once they finish the course, they can automatically apply for a graduate visa. I hope that was the question.
Yeah. I have 3 years of experience in management. Can I apply for an MBA, or is there any specialized course for 1 year duration?
For MBA, we need 3 to 5 years of work experience at a supervisory level. So if the student has 3 to 5 years of managerial level work experience after graduation, yes, they can apply.
Please tell me all about the admission process for the executive MBA course, and what is the average age of students attending this course?
Entry requirement, like I said, it would be 3 to 5 years of managerial level work experience, and we need an IELTS score of 6.5 with nothing less than 6 in any of the module. In terms of, what was the other question? Sorry.
What is the average age of students attending this course?
I'm not 100% sure, but it's anywhere between 25 and 45. But I'm not 100% sure if that's the average, that we had last year as well.
Next question is, what is the average salary we can expect?
That's hard to say. Sandeep, do you want to take this question? Probably you will be in a better position to answer this.
I don't know if I am, but it's very variable, I would assume, depending on the sector that you're in, and also the experience and the kind of domain that you're looking at. So the point of reference I'll give is, so me as a designer, for example, I'm looking at private sector jobs that could be anywhere between 35 and 45,000 a year for mid-level design positions. Or there are public or third sector jobs that are a little bit lower, but where the scope of the work is much higher. So it really depends. And like I said, my answer is only for the design field because that's what I have experience with so far.
Okay. So next question is, how do you select applicants? What aspect do you look for in an application?
We would normally look for, the first thing that we see is the entry criteria. We'd see that the student is meeting the entry criteria academically. That is the first aspect. The second is personal statement. We do place a lot of emphasis on personal statement. Why you want to study at Loughborough, what your future goals are. How do you think your future goals align with studying at Loughborough? So these are the things that we would normally look for in a personal statement. Recommendation letters are equally important. So these are the aspects that we would look for. And of course, English language criteria is also important. We would ask you to provide an English language evidence. It could be in the form of IELTS, TOEFL, or PTE, or Duolingo. We accept a wide range of tests. So these are the things that we would be looking for.
What is the fee structure of MBA, and is there any scope of scholarship?
The fee structure is £32,000, and the scholarship is up to 40%. There is no separate application needed for the scholarship. Every application submitted will be considered for a scholarship automatically. But the criteria would be to meet the academic criteria and the work experience criteria as well. And it's merit-based scholarship, so it's not given to every student.
Can you please tell me the deadline for January 2024 intake, and also if the the question is same. Can you please tell me the deadline for 2024 intake?
For Jan, we don't have a deadline yet, if I'm not wrong, because we still are getting applications for September 2023. And the deadline for September 2023 is first week of September. If I'm not wrong, is 6th of September. So once we are done with September intake is when we would release the deadlines for Jan. So as of now, I would say it's ongoing. As in when we have the deadlines with us, we will share it with you.
I have covered all the questions from YouTube chat box. Thank you for answering all the questions so well. Do you want to share any final words?
Any final words, Dan, Haley?
Thank you for listening, and we hope to see you at Future Space sometime soon.
Yes, I would just add thank you to certainly to the panelists who've taken the time to join us, and thank you to everyone who's listened out there. I hope we've given you some plenty of good reasons to come and see us in Loughborough and in London, because as I said, and as my colleagues I think will agree, it's a great place to spend some time to develop your life for a year or two, and we very much look forward to seeing it.
Thank you so much, Dan, Haley, and Sandeep. Thanks a lot for supporting this webinar, and thank you so much, guys, for listening. And if you have any questions, my contact details are on the screen, so please feel free to write to me. And if you have any questions for Dan, Haley, or Sandeep, please send it to me, and I will, forward it on to them. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Yukti. Thanks for your help.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your valuable time. All the audience, if you have any further question, please feel free to contact SI UK India office. For more update, do follow us on our social media handles. Bye-bye. Take care.